Well, we're making our way through the offseason, and the Ohio State Buckeyes have a lot going on, both internally inside the Woody and also out at the NFL Combine. We got so much to get into. Coach Day making a couple comments last week. Coach Urban Meyer making his presence known with the comment that he made as well. So much to talk about. We get into it all here on the Buckeye Breakdown Podcast.
We've got the whole crew together as we cover Ohio State with our instant analysis from Ohio State.
There's something that doesn't feel right.
Unbelievable effort from him today. Is E.J. Liddell going to crack the first team All Big Ten?
I think he can be the guy. I'm not trying to start a quarterback controversy.
He seems to have the durability. He certainly has the toughness. This is the question on a lot of people's minds here. Welcome to Buckeye Breakdown.
Welcome in and good morning on the Buckeye Breakdown Podcast. Anthony Moeglin, alongside my partner, former Buckeye Kevin Woidke, joining here this morning along as we work our way through another offseason week here. And Kev, big week this week with the NFL Combine happening out in Indianapolis, and the biggest thing for us Buckeye fans to I think keep our eye on, but also be excited about, is that Ohio State leads the way with 15 guys being asked and invited to go to the NFL Combine. And now, as we get midway through the week, there's a lot happening on this Wednesday. We got kickers, defensive line, linebackers. Remember, that group is our entire front four. That's JTT, that's Jack Sawyer, that's Ty Leak, that's Ty Hamilton. They're working their way through the week. So today, they have a few more exams. They got media interviews, which would be huge for all those guys. As you know, you look at Jack and JT, and even Ty Leak. Those are potentially top 20 picks. So they got media interviews. There's going to be a kickers workout. There's an NFLPA meeting. There's more team interviews. There's a lot going on today for those guys. But then group number 2, defensive backs and tight ends. This is our basically 3/4 of our DB crew. It's Lathan Ransom, it's Jordan Hancock, it's Denzel Burke. They have their medical exams. They got studies today. Pre-ordered studies is on the list of things to do. They also have team interviews. And then group number 3, which is huge Ohio State heavy. It's running backs, quarterbacks, wideouts. That's Travion, Quinshawn, that's Will Howard, that's Emeka Ibuka. This is day 2 for those guys. So they have a pre-exam, they have their NFLPA meeting, and then they have team interviews. So there's a ton happening, Kev, in Indianapolis. Everyone's going through a lot right now. It's a fun opportunity, fun couple days here for these Buckeyes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, fun for us. Don't know how fun it is for them. But their dreams are coming true, so I got to imagine that will be it's got to be an interesting experience. It's got to be it's obviously once in a lifetime, and it'll be. I can only imagine what they're going through, their emotions, everything, the anxiety, all of it.
It's a lot. We talked about it on Monday's episode, how this is basically their job interview. And it's a really important week for all those guys. But also an important week kind of all around. There's a ton of conversation happening. This is like a melting pot for all of the NFL. So trade rumors, all sorts of stuff getting these teams started up as the league year is going to commence here in a few weeks. So exciting time for all those Buckeyes. Follow along for how our Ohio State guys are doing out in the Combine. We'll obviously keep you covered here throughout the week on their potential, on their progress. Anything we hear about where they may be drafted, it's going to be a fun couple days here. So a lot going on from that perspective. All right, we did this on Monday. We're going to do it again here this morning, Kev. We talked about some of the best fits that we identified for the offensive guys. Now we're going to flip the thing over to the other side of the football. This Ohio State defense in 2025 was amazing, 2024 was amazing. This was the best group in the country. It was hard to do anything against them. It was hard to move the ball against them. It was hard to score points against them. They had this weird voodoo that when you got inside the 10-yard line and you had 1st and goal, that you just weren't scoring. And it became kind of their MO throughout the year. So when you're looking at this class of these guys going into the league, where are a couple fits that you're like, hey, Jack Sawyer would look good here, or maybe Denzel Burke would be a lockdown corner here. What are some of those that stick out to you?
I think 2 things to say. Jack Sawyer, I could see him at the Falcons and the Jaguars. They don't have a whole lot of pressures and sacks on their end. And then the other where I could see him is also the Lions, because you have Aiden Hutchinson coming off an injury. Who knows what could happen there? But they also need depth on that defensive line. That's one thing they lacked all of last year. And then internally, I could see Carolina or Washington going after Ty Hamilton or Tyleik Williams because they were two of the worst teams against the run. And those are two guys that are plug up holes and take up bodies. And I think,
especially in a day and age where the Philadelphia Eagles just showed the entire world where, hey, if you have a dominant front four, you can win a that leads to winning Super Bowls. And our four guys up front is that type of caliber of player where they can be game changers. They can, not only affect their team, but they can make it on a big stage. So it's going to be really interesting to see where those guys go. For me, there's a couple. I think that wherever Lathan Ransom lands is going to be fun. I became a huge fan of his, just coming from his story, right? Has a major injury, and then comes back in his senior year and really, just kind of hits a second level, if you will. Goes to another step and showed that, oh yeah, Ohio State's got a really good safety in Caleb Downs, but I'm also pretty damn good. And I thought he was awesome. There's going to be a couple cool landing spots. I think that he may be able to fit, and I think he's going to be fitting with a team that's like ready to go. Like he's going to be like a Buffalo Bills type of a guy where, like the Bills need a guy, right? Their number one safety was Damar Hamlin, right? And obviously we know his story, but maybe not the most talented guy, but certainly look to potentially upgrade there. But I think he's going to go to a ready-made team. And then the other one's Cody Simon. I think that, he's going to be potentially like a mid-round guy, mid-tier guy where he's not going to be a guy that flips a franchise around, someone like what the Browns need, right? They don't need a middle linebacker to flip their franchise around. I think he could also go to a contending team, maybe somewhere like Cincinnati, whose defense was horrible last year, or somewhere like, obviously the ones that are at home. The ones I don't want him to go to are Cincy, Pittsburgh, or Baltimore, so that means he's definitely going to one of them. But a team like Green Bay could potentially be a good spot for a guy like Cody. So wherever these guys do land is going to be fun, and they'll obviously make the most of it. But I think there are a handful of spots out there that would be more advantageous than others for these guys. So approaching the NFL draft, just about 6 weeks away from the draft. It's at the end of April, so still some time left. Got to get all the way through March, and then into April before these guys go and figure out where they're going to play next. So bringing it back more to the Ohio State Buckeyes. There's a name, Kev, that's been popping up. You brought him up a couple shows ago. He was one of the best recruits in the country. I believe wherever you look at it, you can look at a number of different places, but it's the top 5 recruit in the country. This is a guy who's starting to turn the heads. Devin Sanchez. He's he has the tools. He has the body type to be kind of a difference maker. Stands at about 6'3", 180 pounds, 185 pounds. Right. That's a young man right there. That's somebody who's going to put on some more muscle, some more weight, but plays the cornerback position. And all reports out of Columbus that he's starting to turn heads in that secondary room, a place where you're losing 3 guys. You're going to need some young cats to step up and play well.
Yeah, I mean, we had some young cats step up and play well last year. A couple freshmen that are looking to play time, but Devin Sanchez isn't looking to sit. He's trying to emulate what Jeremiah did last year as a top recruit and become one of the top performers in the country. Mm-hmm. One of those guys that NFL teams are sitting on their hands for 2.5 years waiting for him to come out. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, looking at this kid on film, looking at just his build and everything, he's a difference maker out there, and it'll be fun to watch how he thrives in this new Matt Patricia defense. However it is, because Matt Patricia is one of those guys that he's going to figure out his best players, how they play their best, and how to maximize them to the best of their potential. And I'm ecstatic to hear that, this kid isn't coming in with, oh, I'm the best at my position. Don't talk to me. I know what I'm doing. All this nonsense. He's coming in with I'm going to work. I'm going to show why I'm the best.
And he got the stamp of approval from your guy, the guy who feels like kind of runs the show in the background. Coach Mick called him a dude's dude. He said he's one of the freaks of the crew. So Coach Mick is saying that means you're doing all the right things, and you're doing what you need to, especially in the offseason program when you have the opportunity to earn the trust of your teammates, of the coaches, and really set yourself up for a really fun season. So exciting stuff there as we learn more about some of the new kids who are going to be coming in trying to propel the Buckeyes into the future. One of the big things that we saw last week was something that was not a surprise, but really cool to see. Obviously, Ryan Day, it was extended after the national championship run. A few weeks back, got a monster deal that has him slated to be the Ohio State Buckeye head coach through the year 2031. But comes from an interview he did with 11 Warriors. We'll include the link to our post about it, our story about it. But he said, and I quote, "I've said this before, but I want to stay here as long as they'll have me. This is a place with special people, and it is an honor. It's going to be an honor to be the coach moving forward." So really cool to see, just kind of the 360 or the 180, I should say, that, not even this whole year has been for Coach Day, but really since November till now has been such a roller coaster, I'm sure, for him. But now he's kind of getting to show everybody his flowers and say that, hey, I want to be the Ohio State Buckeye head coach for as long as I possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking to those losers out there that want him gone. And I got some really close dear friends that didn't really like him didn't really like him until that clock struck zero last few Mondays ago. I mean, that's just the reality situation. It's insane to think that's Ohio State fans were crazy. But I mean, it just the turnaround that he had. He somehow skipped on the mountain. He went from climbing and then up to the top, and then there's a little gap there, but he'll fill that gap, and it'll be glorious when he does. Oh, I can't even imagine that post-game interview. It'll be fun. I know I'll be celebrating, but I just think he's one of the best coaches in the country. He's got a national championship. He's got the best winning percentage. He just shows up. They said he was born on third base. 5 years later, he's built with his own guys. All that he recruited are now national champions. I just think that it's insane to think that there's a better coach out there right now. He's top three, and he's not 3 or 2.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
You're dead right there. I'm gonna clip that and put that one out there because it's right. He wins. He's just a winner. He's got the best teams. And in college, it's so much more than just, hey, showing up on Saturday and calling the right plays. It is a program that's built, that's going to be that has a great foundation, that is going to be good for a very long time. And as long as he's in charge of it, right? Like you said, there's a lot of people out there that wanted him gone, and they're certainly eating his words as he takes his victory lap around and says that, hey, college football is his right now. He's on top of the mountain, and it's going to be it's fun for him. So your coach made his way back into the news cycle last week. Coach Urban Meyer was asked about just Ohio State in general, and in his answer, he gave a good point. He talked about the only thing that kind of gives him pause about the next year's Ohio State team is the fact that they're opening with Texas. He went on he said something real long about it. I'll paraphrase and just say that he said it's good for the sport of football. It's great for college football to have that as a game. But for Ohio State's perspective, like if they lose that game, that kind of that makes your room for error very, very slim the rest of the year in a year where the Big Ten is going to be really solid and you're going to have your work cut out for you against some really good teams. So, Kev, what are your thoughts? We haven't really talked about the fact that Ohio State opens with Texas next year. Do you see that as a good thing or do you see it as a bad thing?
A little bit of both. Yeah. I think that I can see where it can be bad because you have a first-year starting quarterback coming in against a team that's pretty well built. I mean, they knew how to stop us defensively last year. We have a new OC. We have a new DC. There's a lot of turnover against one of, if not the best team coming out next year. I mean, you got Arch Manning, who showed flashes of greatness. It'll be his first game. where he's the true starter. It's not just a fill-in spot. I think that would it have been more beneficial if we played them week 3? Yes, but the flip side is you can also view it as, okay, well, we lost week 1. It was week 1. Everyone loses week 1. Like, we lost week 1 against Virginia Tech in 2014, and look at what happened there. Yeah. It's just, it's going to be a very, very tough battle, tough hill to climb. And like they said, there's a lot of good talent in the Big Ten. And if what they were saying going into that AD coaches meeting is true, there might be some room for error where we could be the 3rd or 4th best team in the Big Ten and still make it again. But that's not the standard that Ohio State sets itself to. They want to be the best team in the country every single week. Yeah. And this is a great way to prove that they are. If they can, it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a tough game. I'm hoping I'll be there. But it'll be interesting.
It's a really good conversation, and it's one that's like, you want more of these games, right? You want more games like this where it's 2 of the top teams and you're not seeing Ohio State versus Marshall. But if you want that to be the case, you have to make it easier, isn't the word I want to use, but easier to get into the playoff, because teams are going to shy away from these types of games as long as it's still challenging to get into the playoff. Now, the barrier to entry to get into the playoff now is starting to come down. So my thought on it all was you're going to start seeing more and more of these games, and these are going to become the norm. It hasn't necessarily taken shape quite yet. There's still some years to kind of flesh it all out. But, I love the matchup. I do understand the concern, though, because not only do you have the start of a year where everything's kind of weird to begin with, right? You're just starting to really get going again. It's just an awkward, it's growing pains, if you will. It's just an awkward start sometimes. And then you have the best team in the country who's doing a lot of what Ohio State did last year. They got a lot of guys coming back. They're going to be a veteran group. Ohio State's got a lot of questions to fill, especially on the defensive side of the ball and on the offensive side of the ball. So their work's going to be cut out from the challenge is going to be there. I don't think it'll have long-term effects on the season if they do slip up or if they do get a win. But I suppose that time will tell on all that. So a fun conversation to have, especially in the month of February. We're almost through it. We're almost to the month of March where we're starting to get some sunshine. Not really. It's starting to warm up a little bit. It's supposed to be like 50 degrees at some point this week. So we're getting there. We're getting close. I know you've been cleaning off your golf clubs over there, Kev. So it's not too far away from that. So, Kev, before we get out of here, any final thoughts as we get out of here on a Wednesday morning?
No, I mean, one thing I'm kind of mad I didn't touch on. We did best fits for defensive backs on Monday. Or for today, we did best fits of offensive backs. I think one fit that might have been overlooked. I think Will Howard could be really good down in Miami.
Ooh.
With a system that is set up for a pass quarterback that's a little mobile, and with Tua being sometimes on the IR for a long period of time, I think that could be a very, very good fit for him. I know we didn't touch on everybody because they can fit in everywhere, but I think that would be a phenomenal place for him to go, possibly grow, and become a starter one day.
Wow.
Mike, is it McDaniels? I think it is.
McDaniels.
I don't know. I was just thinking about
that. Wow, look at you. Our quarterback extraordinaire, Kevin Woidke. I love it. I love that. That would be an unbelievable fit. They got tools around him that would make him pretty damn good, especially if Tyreek stays and he's got Jalen Waddle to throw to, Tyreek to throw to. It was cool to see Will Howard posted something on Instagram the other day, just his off-season workout. So he's out in California training. He's obviously in Indianapolis right now for the Combine. So that's a great fit, Kev. That's a mic drop. That is a mic drop clip. So we're getting out of there on that. Make sure you follow, subscribe, wherever you're watching. Make sure you get over to our website, si.com/college/Ohio State, to read all of the things Buckeyes. We appreciate you making us one of your stops for Buckeye content and hope it continues moving forward. So for my partner, Kevin Woidke, I'm Anthony Moeglin. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning on the Buckeye Breakdown Podcast.